Condo market in the city of Toronto has kind of remained flat, with Bank of Canada not giving us any indication or any signal that when they're going to actually start cutting down the rates. I think the market is going to remain like this for some time. In fact, the condo market in Toronto has not seen much of a price growth since 2019. I mean, there were few instances or few time periods where the condos in Toronto did experience decent price growth or price appreciation, but over the period of 4 to 5 years, the market has kind of leveled off. And I will explain you how and why that has happened. So the first reason is the pandemic. So in the year of 2020, people started leaving the city and the demand for the condos plummeted. And you can see on the chart, there's a downward pressure onto the pricing too. So the second reason is the interest rate. That's a pretty obvious one. If you take a look at this chart again, you can see by the end of 2021, condos did make a comeback and peaked in the month of February and March of 2022. And after that, again, the Bank of Canada started increasing the interest rates. And after that, we can see a downward pressure onto the pricing as well. And if you notice again, in the spring, summer of 2023, prices were going up again. Bank of Canada increased the interest rates twice. That was in the month of May and June of 2023. And after that, we've been seeing a downward pressure onto the prices for condos. And the third reason is that the investors are not buying as much. They are shying away from investing into the market. And the prime reason is the elevated rate of interest. Because if numbers are not making sense, the investors are not going to jump into the market, and especially if the numbers are not making sense for the existing investors who are already in the market, they don't think for long before offloading that asset from their asset portfolio, as opposed to a homeowner or end users. So that is why right now in the city, the majority of the condo inventory is listed by the investors. I'll quickly show you a stat which will give us a better insight. So here is the occupancy analysis of all the condos which are currently listed on market in whole of downtown Toronto. So the number of condos which are currently listed in market in the city is 1,972. I know that's quite a number. And out of those 1,972, 558 are tenanted. So basically that's 28% of the condos, which are tenanted. So which speaks for itself that these are owned by investors. So 558 condos are currently listed by investors for sale in the market. And of the whole lot of condos which are currently listed for sale, out of those 899 are vacant, which basically captures the 45% of all the inventory. So 899 out of this, majority of those in my opinion would be investors, because some of the properties which are listed out of 899 must be owned by the original owner or the end user. They must have moved on to a newer property and they're still selling this property, and that is why it is on market. So it's more of a mixed bag, but majority of those out of these 899 in my opinion would be investors. And the fourth category is owner occupied, which is 491. So these are actual owner occupied units. So these are not investors. So that's the number we're looking at. And the third category we're looking at is owner occupied, and the number of units we're looking at is 491. So these are basically owners or end users. So these are not investors. That's clear over here. So the fourth category we're looking at is owner and tenanted. So basically this is more of a sharing arrangement where in one part of the property the owner is living and in the other part of the property is being rented out. So the number of properties we're looking at is just 10. So that's a low number. So this gives us a perspective that the majority of the condos which are currently listed, or the majority of the inventory out of those, are currently listed by the investors. Now I'm going to address to the concern which you might have, that is what's going to happen with the prices of condos. Are they going to crash, or are they going to stay flat forever? Or they're going to go up? Well, it all depends. But in my opinion, in the short term, or maybe for the rest of the year, I think the prices are going to stay flat or hover around there where they are. I don't see a more of a downward or an upward pressure. But in the long term, the situation looks a little different, because I will quickly show you on the presentation. So developers are not building as much they should because of high construction cost. And second is elevated interest rates are making it not so viable economically for them to build. So down the line, we're going to run into the same problem of supply and combination of supply, and as well as if they start cutting down the rates, whenever they're going to start cutting down the rates. But once they start cutting down the rates and the problem of supply, which we are anticipating, which we're going to end up into, so the combination of these two are going to put the pressure onto the pricing to go upward. But we'll see how things pan out. But for now, I think so the prices are going to stay where they are. Now let's check out and see what's happening in the Greater Toronto area as a whole for all property types. So let's check that out. So here are the average prices of all property types for Greater Toronto Area since December 2019 to March 2024. And if we do a year-over-year comparison, that is from March 23 to March 2024, the prices have remained more or less flat. It's just increased by 1.3%. It's not too much of a difference. The number of sales have come down by about 5%. So that's something we need to keep an eye out on. And if we do a month-over-month comparison, that is from February 2024 to March 2024, the prices have again remained flat. It's just increased by 1%. And the number of sales have gone up by about 15%. So going forward, I don't think so we're going to see much of a volatility. I think we're going to see a slow and steady growth, or maybe not too much of a growth, or maybe it's going to stay flat, but chances are very, very high we will see a slow and steady growth, I think, which is a good thing, which is a sign of a healthy market. Now let's check out what's happening for condos in downtown Toronto. So let's check out that stat. So here we go. So if we do a year-over-year comparison, the prices are down by about 3.5%, and the number of sales are down by 21%. So that's something we need to keep a note of. So sales are down by 21%. And if we do a month-over-month comparison, the prices are up by about 2%. It's not too much of a difference again. And the number of sales are down by 12%. So what does it mean for you if you're a buyer in this market? So if you're someone who's looking to get into a freehold side of things, you're going to face some competition, because freehold properties, there is some competition, and there are at such some properties, there are multiple offers or bidding wars going on. So that is something you'll have to consider while getting into freehold side of things. But if you're someone who's looking to get into a condo market, you definitely, as a buyer, especially as a first-time home buyer, you're definitely going to find good opportunities for you. So as a condo seller, I would suggest to hold on to your property if your situation allows to, because currently the level of inventory we have, you're going to face competition as a seller. So if you can hold on to your property for an year or two, I think you'll be better off selling then. But it all depends upon situation to situation. So please feel free to book a call with me as per your convenient time if you have any questions about real estate. And that's pretty much for today. I hope you found this type of content valuable. And if you did, then please subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. I really appreciate you watching this video, and see you in the next video. Thank you.